Look, Dory wanted to be in the video. No? Okay. So, hi guys. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here, my name is Danielle. And today I'm going to be talking about the popular books that disappointed me. Either they just didn't hit the mark or they were just downright terrible. One or the other. So if you like any of these books, I mean, that's great. I just didn't like them. Maybe we will agree, but who knows. So I'm going to talk about Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. So this is a very popular thriller book, and I was not the biggest fan of this book. So the premise, it kind of follows this married couple, and they're doing like this little getaway, a little vacation, because their marriage is kind of like on the rocks, and they're just trying to get it back to like who they were. Things are just going wrong, okay? Like I can't even say much, because with a thriller, you kind of just want to go in blind, and I would suggest going in blind with this one. Like nothing hooked me in this book. I think it's just because I'm not the biggest fan of mysteries and thrillers that like involve like domestic thrillers that involve like a married couple. So I probably should have stayed away from this book, knowing that this was about a married couple, but so many people just convinced me to read it. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna give it a shot. But not enough happened throughout the book. I think that's what I hate about certain thrillers, when like not enough is happening and I'm not like super intrigued. Like I wasn't interested in their marriage. I wasn't interested in their lives together. So I think that's what made it suck for me. And this is a YA thriller series, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I'm in a TV show, and I will watch the TV show when it comes out eventually, because I think I was like imagining it in my head as it being a show, and I could see it being intriguing, but this book just wasn't it for me. So basically this book follows Pippa. Yeah, right? Or Pip. I don't know. Her name is very weird. And at her school, there was like this death of this girl at the school, and everyone's like claiming it as a murder. And everyone's saying that the girl was murdered by her ex-boyfriend. And Pip is like, I don't believe that. She doesn't believe that. So she decides to be a little detective for her school project, and she decides to follow this story. And, you know, when she gives the teacher this idea, they're like, you know, you can't like ask too many personal questions with the family involved. You can't get too deep into it. But Pip doesn't listen, and she gets very deep into this investigation. And basically that's what this first book follows. I can't really talk about the rest of the trilogy because that would just spoil everything. But I will say it's very quick. As you see, it's very short. It's, you know, very quick. It's very easy to follow because it is YA. I just think what made me not so hooked with this, I just found it very juvenile. And I guess it's like, okay, Danielle, it's YA. Like, what did you expect? But I don't know. And it was just kind of insane how everyone was looking at Pip to be like this crazy detective and leader, like literal adults. Like she's what, 17 in this book, like 16, 17. Like, why are we depending on this 17-year-old to solve a murder mystery? I just don't understand. Like, could not suspend my disbelief enough to just be like, yeah. I mean, I think it's worth a shot. I think it's just, if you will like it, some people like it, and some people hate it. I didn't hate it. I just wasn't intrigued enough. I didn't even finish the trilogy. I read the second one, and then after that I was done. So I'm just going to talk about a very popular author on BookTok, and that is Terry Jenkins Reid. So before you come at me, I didn't hate these books. Well, I didn't hate Daisy Jones and the Six. I read this one. I listened to the audiobook, you know, because before the show came out, I wanted to read it and see what the hype was about. I didn't like this one as much as Seven Husbands. So if you don't know what Daisy Jones and the Six is about, it follows this band and this reporter, and they are interviewing the members of the band. So the entire book is followed in interview format. So that's why a lot of people suggest listening to the audiobook, and I would suggest that as well. I just felt like with this story, oh yeah, and also like it's set in the 70s. It just, everything moved so quick. Like the beginning and the middle and the end, like things were just so rushed that I felt like the connections and the relationships built between the characters were just not fleshed out enough for me. Like like I wanted to feel something for them, but I feel like I couldn't feel enough for them. Like I enjoyed the addition of the show as well, but I just wasn't as attached to these characters as I thought I was going to be, the way everybody talked about it. Like people were saying it was their favorite book ever, and I was just like, how? Like I didn't get into the characters at all. Didn't like some of the choices that like were made in this book. And the ending was very rushed to me, like very rushed, and the reveal and everything and the twist, I was just like, I'm starting to think that Terry Jenkins Reid just like low-key like copies everything that's in her other books. Like, and I really realized that she copied a lot of stuff in her other books when I read Malibu Rising. I couldn't even finish this book. I had to DNF it because this book had these like same things and issues that would happen in Seven Husbands and in Daisy Jones and the Six, and it would just happen in this book as well. So this book follows Nina Riva, and she's the daughter of Mick Riva, which he's pops up in Seven Husbands and Daisy Jones. She has like a few other siblings, and they're kind of like, you know, they got parental issues. Like, you know, her dad is like this rock star, and he just is not really involved in his family. And you kind of show her life, and basically like they're having like this big party, an annual in December party, and basically where you get like flashbacks to, you know, we see Nina grow up and follow her, and then also like getting what happens during this party. I DNF this book, so I don't even know what happened in the end, but I couldn't finish it because of the fact that the same things were happening in Taylor Jenkins Reid's other books. Like I just couldn't, like, why were the same exact things happening like this? And I get it, maybe it's just because they're all set in like that same time period, so maybe like she was just trying to like keep cool with the pattern. So maybe I'm wrong for not liking it, but this is a lot of like people's favorite book, and that's Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I know, boo me. I was reading it, I didn't even notice I didn't like it until after I read it, and I was like, I did not like that book. So basically this is a small town romance, and it follows our main character Bree, and basically like she kind of went through something in her personal life, and she's just going through things. So she moves to this little small town in Maine. I'm pretty sure it's in Maine, yeah. And basically she's just, you know, trying to get into the small town, get a job, get her life together. And she meets Archer, and Archer is kind of like the town's outcast. Like he doesn't talk, he doesn't speak to, and Bree is just kind of like, oh, who's this quiet guy? And we find out that Archer, like, he can't talk for a reason, and it's something that you find out later in the book. You just got to keep reading, but it's basically like that shy boy trope. Like he's like the cute innocent guy, he doesn't talk to anyone, he's super isolated, and Bree's new to this town, and she's giving him a chance. Everyone talked about this book, they raved so much about how Bree and Archer were basically soulmates. Like they were like, oh, they're soulmates, they're perfect for each other. I just didn't feel that like intense love and like soulmate energy from them that I was supposed to feel. So I felt like nothing was happening for majority of this book. It was a lot of telling and not any showing. Like they would hang out, like I wanted to see the progression of Bree and Archer's relationship, and they would go hang out, and then later like they would tell us like, oh, like we hung out for like hours and hours and hours, and we talked about this and we talked about that. Like, what about you show us? Like they were just telling us that they were hanging out. I was like, I don't understand like when they got close. I wasn't getting how they were getting close. I don't know how this is some people's favorite book. I don't get it. This next book was like a big disappointment because I really liked the author's first book. It's The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armez. So I really loved The Spanish Love Deception by her. So the main girl for this book, Rosie, is the main girl from the first book's best friend, and the main guy for this book is the cousin of the main girl. Woo, that was like a lot. But basically this book is a friends to lovers romance. It's forced proximity because Rosie is staying at Lena's apartment while like Lena is out of town, and Lucas is also staying at her apartment, but things got switched up. Things were, you know, messed up, and now they have to share this space. More to it. I was expecting more. I felt like nothing really happened. I felt like there wasn't like a main plot that we were following. But yeah, this one was a big letdown. It was a disappointment. I didn't feel their chemistry. I was bored. I didn't like it. So another little rom-com, and that is The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. This is the second book following The Worst Best Man. And so basically they're just like these rom-com. Really like the premise behind this one because it's fake dating. So the main character in this one, she's the cousin of the character from the last one. So her name is Solange. And this one follows Solange and Dean. And so basically Solange is like helping out at Dean's wedding. Dean is about to get married, but Solange finds Dean's wife to be, like making out with somebody else, and she's like professing her love to somebody else like at the reception. And Solange is like, whoa, I gotta stop this wedding. I can't let this random man that I don't know get married to a girl that doesn't even love him. So she crashes the wedding. She's like, you can't get married. This girl is a slut. That's what she does for a dude that she doesn't even know. And Dean is like mad because this wedding was a whole entire sham. Like he was only getting married to this girl so that like it was beneficial to them. It was an arranged marriage. Conveniences in like a normal like contemporary sense make no sense to me. Dean was like, yo, you screwed me up because I needed a freaking wife. So she's like, all right, I'll help you out. I'll pay you back because I ruined your wedding. And so they agreed to fake date. It's not that I didn't like this book, okay? I didn't hate it. I actually still enjoyed it and I had a good time. I just thought I was gonna like it way more than I did. I really liked The Worst Best Man, and that one was like, and I thought that this one was gonna be more up my alley because it's fake dating and I love fake dating and it's Grumpy Sunshine. I just didn't feel the depth of these two characters as much as I felt for the last book. So yeah, I kind of was disappointed because I really did like the last one, but I still thought it was cute. You know, getting to the books that are really gonna get me canceled. Games by Anna Huang. I know. Everybody and their mom loves this book. If you haven't heard about Twisted Series by Anna, it's a contemporary romance, like interconnected standalone series, and it follows basically these four best friends, and they're like in college and stuff, and they're just living their lives, and they're falling in love with like billionaires and stuff and rich men and just living their lives. But Bridget, she is actually a princess, you know, she's royalty, which is so strange. So yeah, she's a princess, and this is a bodyguard romance. She's about to become queen, so it's forbidden romance, it's forced proximity. I wasn't obsessed with this one because I felt like nothing was happening the entire book. Also, Reese and Bridget, they had no personalities. I don't understand how so many people were obsessed with them because they were so stale and boring. Not a single ounce of personality within either one of them. It's kind of confusing how some people were obsessed with them, but to me, the book just had really bad pacing. Like, there were so many time jumps within each chapter, and I was just like, whoa, like, where are we going with this? And it was like slow burn, but at the same time, it was moving fast. Like, I can't even describe it. I was just like, how are they falling for each other? I just don't understand. They were just two attractive people, and now we're forced together. I just didn't understand how they were falling in love. Like, am I going crazy? I must be going crazy because this book was not that great to me. But I mean, I could be the problem. It's next to, I'm gonna literally get killed for this because everyone loves these books, and that is the Cat and Mouse Duet by H.D. Carlton. Now, I didn't hate these books. I was just expecting something different. As you can see, I tabbed the heck out of this book because there were just so many funny moments and so many like WTF moments where I was just like, what the, yeah, because this book was just a roller coaster. No, I never even ended up rating this book because I just didn't even know what to say. I have so many conflicting thoughts on like whether I hate or like Zayd, and I just don't know. So if you know nothing about this book, basically it follows Adeline and Zaid, and basically Adeline has a stalker, none other than Zaid Meadows, our main character. So Adeline moves into this house. I think it's like her old grandmother's house, and it's a very creepy house. So she's an idiot. So she lives in this creepy old abandoned house, and like she starts noticing that like she's got somebody stalking her. He's like sending her roses and notes and creepy stuff, and she finds one of her grandmother's old journals, and basically she finds out that her grandmother as well had a stalker, and her grandmother was falling for her stalker. So you also get like little like snippets of the notes between her grandmother and the stalker. I'm trying to see if I can pull up one of them, but like they would look like this. So you get to see throughout the story the grandmother's progression with her stalker. So that was kind of interesting. It was like two plots happening at once. And the thing with Zaid is that he's kind of like, he's something different. Like he's like a killer, but at the same time he's like he's not your normal antagonist, and that's what was confusing about him. He does like some cyber stuff, and he like hacks into things, and he's kind of like has this whole little like organization where he like hunts down and tracks down traffickers and stuff like that, and he basically shuts down their system, and he saves children from trafficking. And so it's kind of like he's a good guy, but at the same time he's not, because the things that he's saving these children and women from, he's like doing the same thing to Adeline. Like, I don't understand. That was my conflicting thing with this book, is like, if he's gonna be this villain, this bad guy that's stalking her and stuff like that, keep him bad in the aspects of his life. Like, I'm not saying he has to be a trafficker, but it's like, how are you gonna have him like fighting to save people being trafficked? He's stalking this girl and terrorizing her. It just doesn't correlate to me. Like, it's just, that doesn't make sense to me at all. Also, Adeline was just stupid. Girl, she was just dumb. And then what she had to go through in the second book, I'm not even gonna talk about it because it's just a spoiler, and I'm not gonna talk about it, but the first 300 pages of this book were just rough. And I just was like, did we need to read that? I didn't need to read that. So in my personal opinion, I wasn't too blown away by the series. And I think it's just because I was expecting more. So many people raved about it and hyped it up before I read them, because everyone was like obsessing over it. And they were like, oh my God, Zaid is like the best book boyfriend ever. He's so great. And I was just kind of like, that's what I'm going to be talking about is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. And this is the first book, a part of the Never After series. And it's her dark romance series that basically is just like, they're not retellings, but they're just like Disney, like they're twisted Disney stories. So this one, if you can tell by the title, follows Hook, Captain Hook, and Wendy from Peter Pan. So it's more kind of like a contemporary setting. So like a mafia romance, because Hook is like a part of the mafia, and Wendy is just the daughter of this man that he is kind of enemies with. So, you know, the premise of this is like Hook's kind of like supposed to be using her, and things happen from there. It's like mild dark romance, like the start of dark romance. So if you're new to dark romance, I would say pick it up. I didn't really get attached to Hook as a main character, and I didn't really get attached to Wendy or their relationship at all together. I wasn't really like obsessed with them. I also think these books just move so fast, and then it's like you feel like nothing's happening, and then they end like she just throws everything in there, and it's just all happening so fast. And I mean, if you want like a quick easy read that you don't have to think about, I would say pick it up. It wasn't horrendous, just wasn't the best. These are the books, you know, screenshot, take a picture. That was it for today's video. If you want more book videos, come back for more, you know, like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on all my socials that are in the description box below. You know, I'll see you next time. So bye. Peace.